Shalom everyone, and today we're studying Parashat Re'eh, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11, verse 26. ראה אנוכי נותן לפניכם היום ברכה וקללה. Translation, see, ראה means see, אנוכי, אנוכי is me, but it's the same word, אנוכי, that the Mount Sinai Revelation is starting with. The I am, נותן לפניכם, giving in front of you today a blessing and a curse. Okay? And that raises a lot of questions. First of all, see. Just the word see, which means God is telling us to see. But the question is, what is that we can see? How much can we see? Do we really see? You know, how many times we see in history, general history, human history, our own story of life. It's written on the wall, but we didn't see. The right people did not see. The question is, why is it that we don't see what we're supposed to see? That if we have been able to see, then life would have been so much different for us, for nations, because the leaders of the nations did not see. I think this is one of the most important questions any human must ask themselves, because the way we see reality is the way that dictates our decision-making, our mood, our well-being, which means if I see that everything around me is great, you know, my life will be much better than if I see that everything is hanging on a limb and things can fall apart any second, or things already fell apart because of other people's mistakes, my mistakes, so on and so forth. So the ability to see, we have to ponder on it. We have to basically be focused about what allows me to see. Because the question is, do I see? How many times in my life, I'm asking myself, I've seen the situation, but I haven't seen the probabilities, the results, what's really going on. How does that affect my well-being? How does that affect the way I make my decisions? Where to be, what to be, how to be, what to do, how to decide. You have to make a decision. You have to get married to somebody. Do you see all the possible dangers or the cost? Do you see the advantage? What do you see? Do you really see what's in front of you? This is the greatest thing. And one thing we have to remember, we humans, life show us that we don't see. Do we really see reality? Of course not. Of course not. You know, how many times we're talking about like the halftime life of any decision about any kind of analysis we do about anything in life, which means at that moment, I'm sure I'm making a knowledgeable, intelligent decision about certain important issues in my life. And then, you know, how many times years later, sometimes even months later, and I'm asking myself, how could I be so blind? If I just seen the picture the way I see it today, I would have made a different decision. My life would be so much different today than it is. I missed so many decisions. I said yes when I was supposed to say no. I said no when I was supposed to say yes. If I just could see in the past what I see today, I think I made it clear. So what really guarantees that we will be able to see the right thing? So let us go a little bit to the Ohev Israel, the Opter Rebbe. He lived in Eastern Europe in the 18th century, 19th century. And he's asking, he continues to ask about this question, because here, let's just me repeat the verse, Deuteronomy 11:26. See, I'm giving in front of you today a blessing and a curse. And any believer will ask, why would God put in front of me a curse? Why would he? Why would he? And the Ohev Israel, that's the name of the book and the name of the Rebbe, the many rabbis being called after the book they wrote, they published. And he's saying as follows, הגם שמפי עליון לא תצא הרעות, רק ברכות. We know that from the above, from the divine, nothing evil will come out, only blessings, and all kinds of good. כל מיני טוב. עם כל זה, however, לפעמים יתהפך שפע הטוב וברכה עצמה, אל ההיפוך של הטוב. Sometimes the bliss of good and blessing will turn over because a change within the recipient, which means from above, what comes out is a blessing, is bliss, is good fortune. However, the recipient, human being, can transform his behavior, and that behavior will turn the bliss into a curse. Which means our actions will determine how would God's bliss manifest in our life. As example, I'm giving many times this example, electricity. Electricity is bliss flowing in the walls. Why? You live in a house that without electricity could become into not just a cave, a grave. Okay? It will be too suffocating in the summer, could be an icebox in the winter, and so on and so forth. Because and thanks to the electricity, when the electricity flows into the air conditioning unit, it can change the climate in the house to become livable, comfortable, nice, easy. Okay? The same electricity can bring light when it's dark. Same electricity can bake for us, cook for us, do so many things for us. However, the same electricity in the wall can kill us if we touch it in the wrong way. So is it bliss? Yes, it is bliss. The recipient, through his way attaching to the bliss, will determine if that bliss can turn into a curse or will manifest into different form, a whole array of different functions that will bring us bliss. It's nothing to do with electricity, which is energy. It has to do with the recipient, the customer, the end user. That will determine if it's a blessing or a curse. So here it is very similar from the point of view of the creator. He is giving, he's emanating only good, only blessings, only positivity, only power and bliss. Now, the end user, the human being, will determine if that will become a blessing or a curse, which means something that is very, very, very much important. From the creator, let's repeat again, only good will come. Okay? However, it is for us, the end user, the consumer, the human being, to take responsibility and to be aware that if it's going to be a blessing or a curse, it is totally dependent on ourselves, on our behavior. Same thing with electricity. So therefore, when it says, I'm giving in front of you today a blessing and a curse, which means Hainu lifnechem, in front of you. It doesn't say to you, but in front of you. I'm presenting it to you. I'm presenting to you the options. It can change sometimes into a curse, ישתנה לפעמים לקללה, חס ושלום לפי מעשיכם, God forbid, according to your own actions. אבל השפעה מהמקור הוא רק לטוב. But the bliss, the flow of good fortune is only good from the source. ואם יאמר אומר, אם כן, איך אפשר לדע איזה שפע הוא של ברכה? עולה פה חס ושלום. So you'll ask, how would I know how to turn the bliss coming from above into a blessing or into a curse? Cannot be, הלא יוכל להיות שמהברכה יתהפך להיפוך חס ושלום. How could it be that it can turn so abruptly from a blessing into a curse, which is the exact opposite? So the answer is giving is like this. היינו, for example, שיבוא לאדם עשירות גדול ברוב ברכה. Somebody will get a great fortune, a lot of money, with a lot of blessing, like real huge amount of bliss money-wise. Okay? However, this richness can turn into a curse. How? We can see it in Ecclesiastics 5:12. עושר שמור לבעליו לרעתו. Richness that is to bring harm to its owner. Again, Ecclesiastics 5:12. Which means some people, they have a lot of money, but that money turns into their curse. And so many others goods. And therefore, Moses, which these are his words, who's the teacher of all the prophets, he gave us a real good sign so we can tell and know which blessing is for real. Chesed ve'emet, it's loving kindness and true. That God Almighty, he wants that blessing. היינו, אם באותה שעה שנשפע על אדם שפע טובה, and this is the sign, if during the time when a person is getting a lot of good fortune, and that means any kind of blessing, like richness, health, wisdom, anything that is from the nature of bliss. When a person is getting that, and the person feels that bliss flowing into his life, how do we know it is good? Because as we said, a lot of people, they have a very, people win the lottery. That looks like bliss. I can solve so many questions, so many problems in my life, right? I can upgrade my life into a better, with a lot of money. Somebody wins like the first prize in the lottery, it could be like millions and millions and millions. Research is showing that most people who win the great winning in the lottery, a year later, this situation is much worse, which means, why much worse? So it's not better. They lost the money, okay? They don't know how to keep the money. No, why much worse? And the answer is that money turned from a bliss into a curse. How do we know if it is becoming a bliss or a curse. You know, somebody got an amazing job. Somebody got an amazing position, a lot of honor, respect, power. Got a lot of power in his hands. Okay, he can do a lot of good right now. He is very famous. A lot of people are listening to him. Okay, so, you know, how do I know if it's a blessing or a curse? The fact that you're being entrusted with so much power and money or wisdom or any kind of access to power, is that necessarily a bliss? No, it could be also a curse. How would I know? What's the sign? So here our teacher is saying, אם באותה שעה שנשפע אל אדם שפע טובה וברכה מלעילה, when a person is getting that bliss from above and he becomes so fortunate that he has so much, how do you know that this is good for good or that will ruin you? And the answer is, if you have the feeling that you're being blessed and money and power and all of these opportunities open up for you, if that is going to give you, אם ילהב אז לבבו לעבודת השם יתברך, בהתערותא דרוחא ונפשא באמת, ולקיים כל מצוות השם אשר ציווהו, זה סימן טוב ומובהק לאדם שהוא שפע טובה ומתברכת לעד, וחפצי בה יקרא לזה. יקרא לה. So, what is a sign? When a person feels that so much like springs of wealth and health and whatever are opening and flowing to his life, if that will get him excited to serve God, we know that that is a sign that that fulfillment will be lasting fulfillment and ongoing blessing and success. וזה ההשפעה וברכה של אמת מתקיימת. This is a true bliss of blessing and goodness, and it will be established and will survive. However, if not, if that bliss will turn the person into or turn him away from God, we know that this is not going to end so well. So, but let's go deeper. There's no Zohar about Parashat Re'eh. However, the verses in Parashat Re'eh, many of them have Zohar commentary in other places scattered all along the Zohar itself. In order to summarize it, let's go back to the word. The name of the parasha is Re'eh. Re'eh means see. But some sages, I don't remember which one, however, when you see in the Torah itself, in a Chumash, a regular Chumash, when the word is being written, every word is being written with the vowels and also with the incantations. Because the Torah itself, you have to know how to pronounce the words, and each word you need exactly in the Torah. It's pretty tough because the conjugation and so on are very special, so you have to know how to pronounce it properly, and also how the incantation goes. The incantation of Re'eh, it's a dot above the middle letter, the Aleph. So some say that that could be seen as a Yud. Parashat Re'eh always falls within the sign of Leo, Aryeh. Aryeh means a lion. Aleph, Reish, Yud, Hey. Re'eh, if you add a Yud, which means you look at the dot above the Aleph as a Yud, so it is the same letters of Aryeh, a Leo, a lion. But it's also the same letters of the word Re'iyah, Reish, Aleph, Yud, Hey, sight, the ability to see. Again, Re'eh is when you command somebody, you offer somebody to see, that's Re'eh. Re'iyah means sight, It's a noun. So Re'eh and Aryeh, a lion, it's the same letters. Same letters exactly. So why is this important? Because there's something about, we know, the sign of Leo that gives the ability to cite people that are born in the sign of Leo or have a very strong Leo on their astrological chart, like rising Leo, moon in Leo, and stuff like this. They have an additional ability to see and therefore to lead, to see what others cannot see. Most people are blind most of the time. Most people do not really see and cannot connect the dots. Most people can be very easily be led after illusions. And therefore, you can see, a lot of people, they trust false prophets. And the history of humanity is so full of those stories of people following false prophets, of false leaders, or false visionaries. And by the way, we have in the same parasha, Parashat Re'eh, what would you do when a prophet appears? Uh, I think I lost this place. I thought I lost it. It's in Parashat Re'eh. A prophet will appear, and God says, I will send you false prophet to test you, to see if you're really loyal to me. And if that prophet is going to tell you to change one little detail in this Torah, this is a false prophet. We know in history how many people came and presented themselves as prophets and misled so many people in the history. Just, when somebody is coming and saying, let's update the Torah. Whatever was in the Torah, it was good for them. The Torah speaks about the laws of the universe, the structure of the universe. Can somebody come to university and say, maybe we should revise the laws of Newton? Maybe we should change Einstein's relativity. Those are physical forces that run the world, and you don't update them. You can maybe, through additional scientific research, you can maybe get more focus on certain aspect. But we know it's a Newton laws are not going to change. Okay, the Einstein's laws are not going to change. The laws of chemistry known to humanity, they're not going to change. Why would the Torah have to change? The moment somebody will come and say, let's change the Torah, it's not up to date. What does it mean? It's like the same thing, you're coming and you want to change the laws of physics. They're not going to change. Physics that's the way it is. Oh, you can maybe add some more research to expand on some knowledge that is known already, but you cannot change the laws of the universe. This is what the Torah is about. So the question is again, what is the guarantee that we will be able to see, to really see? So now let's go a little bit. This is a very important commentary of the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, Rabbi Chaim Ben Attar. ונראה שהכוונה היא כי לפי שבא להבחירם בעולם העליון ולהמעיט כל טובות עולם הזה. This parasha is always coming during the month of Leo, the month of Av. And here there's something important to understand. Moses, through this parasha, wants to help the Israelites that standing in front of him and all the generations to come till the end of times just to help them, says the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, Rabbi Chaim Ben Attar, לפי שבא להבחירם. He wants to help them to make the right choice. And what is the right choice? We spoke about it in the previous parashot, in Parashat Ekev and in in the Vayetchanan, especially in last parasha, Parashat Ekev. You have to make a choice. Where are you going to put your focus? Over the spiritual dimension or over the physical materialistic dimension? That will determine how your life is going to continue. And that's crucial. This is really crucial. Do you understand it? Because if we are putting the weight that what really is going to determine my success is my success in the materialistic dimension, and the spiritual dimension, we'll come to it when we have some time to it, which is a big, big, big mistake. And that's basically what the way we're being brought up in our modern, very materialistic civilization. No wonder that we are in an era that is skyrocketing numbers and percentage of depression, of people feeling that I've got everything and I have nothing. So Moses is teaching us how to see the spiritual dimension. Because when we choose to focus, to put the emphasis on the spiritual dimension of our life, we are not going to be misled so easily after the wrong prophets, which means you have a lot of money, you'll be happy. No, you have to have the right state of mind to be happy. It's not the money that makes you happy. It's your state of consciousness that will make the money for you and make it serve you to reach greater levels of happiness. Money is not an enemy. It's only the way you look at it. As we said, it can turn into a curse. It can turn into a blessing. So let's go back to a topic. So what is the guarantee again that I'll be able to see? I'm not a prophet. You're not a prophet. We're not going to be prophets soon. Okay? Maybe we can get a little bit smarter. So what is the tool? What is the guarantee that will finally things will happen the way they should happen? How many times we do not see in what's in front of us? Most of the times, okay? And we see only what we are basically allowing ourselves to see. And the key word over here is again with the word, the name of the sign, Mazal Aryeh, Aryeh the lion, and Re'eh, sight, same letters. The key word over here, and it will appear many, many times in this parasha. It should appear already in the beginning. It appears many times in the book of Deuteronomy. Okay, we see that we're the same, the story of the prophet. Chapter 13, verse 2, verse 1. Okay, את כל הדבר שאנוכי מצווה אתכם אותו תשמעו לעשות. Everything that I am ordering right now, you will observe to do. Do not add anything. Do not remove anything out of it. Verse 2, Ki yakun bekirbecha. We'll see how is it connected. Ki yakun bekirbecha navi o cholem chalom. When, it doesn't say if, it says when, a prophet or somebody with a dream will rise amongst you and will give you a sign or even a miracle. And that miracle, a sign that he told you, will tell you to walk, to follow other gods that you never knew before and let you worship them. Lo tishma el divrei hanavi. Do not listen to the words of that prophet or that dreamer. Ki menaseh Adonai Elohechem etchem ladat, because God, your Lord, is testing you to know, are you really loving your God, your Lord, with all your heart, with all your might? And then verse 5, Acharei Hashem Elokechem telechu, after the Lord your God you will follow. Ve'oto tirau, and you should have awe of him, and his precepts you will observe. And you listen to him, and you will worship only him, and you attach yourself only to him. And the word over here is awe. Awe in Hebrew is yir'ah. Yir'ah, again, the same letters as aryeh, a lion, re'iyah, and sight. So we have some secret in this parasha that is about how can you really see. You can really see when you reach the level of awe. What is awe? A-W-E. What is awe? And again, in Hebrew, it's the same letters. Sight, awe, and leo. How do you know that that prophet is a false prophet? How do you know that what you see and what you understand of what you see is right? How do you know what to follow? How do you know how to perceive reality and then turn everything into a blessing and not into a curse? The key word over here is awe. What is awe? One of the most amazing Zohar, and that it's a message just for a lesson or a course of its own. You can find it in the introduction to the Zohar, verse 189. The introduction to it is 185. It speaks about Rabbi Shimon getting out of the cave after 13 years. He was sitting in the mud in the cave. He's coming out, and he has a lot of sores over his body, and he goes to Tiberias, because in Tiberias there are hot springs that people go to heal over there, and he goes over there to heal his ailing skin. Over there, he meets Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair, who was his father-in-law. And Rabbi Pinchas sees Rabbi Shimon with all his wounds, and he's crying with him, Bachaimo, verse 188. Ve'amar oy shiriticha bechach, woe to me that I've seen you like this. Amar lo Rabbi Shimon, answered Rabbi Shimon, Ashrei chelki, praiseworthy, I am so praiseworthy that you've seen me like this, שראית אותי בכך. כי אם לא ראית אותי בכך, לא הייתי בכך. If you didn't see me like this, I won't be like this. Which means I earned the great secrets of the universe just because I was secluded for 13 years buried in the cave. So if the price is the skin, that's not a problem. I'm worthy of it. And then he says like this, פתח רבי שמעון במצוות התורה ואמר. Rabbi Shimon then opened his mouth, telling about the mitzvot, the precepts of the Torah, and he says, mitzvot HaTorah שנתן הקדוש ברוך הוא לישראל, the mitzvot, the precepts of the Torah, that the Creator gave to Israel, כתובות כולן בתורה בדרך כלל, they're written in the Torah, in general. And what does it mean? In the first verse in the Torah, Bereshit bara Elohim till vayi or. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth till the word, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. In these words, all the mitzvot of the Torah are already encoded. Especially Bereshit bara Elohim, in Bereshit bara Elohim. Translating it into English is such a crime, because translated Bereshit into in the beginning, this is like it's such a minute, it's minimizing all the different other explanations of the word. But it's saying Zoya mitzvah rishona lechulam. This is the first mitzvot of them all. Mitzvah zot, that is the first of all the mitzvot, is called Yirat Hashem, the awe of God. Hanikret Rashit, that is called beginning. Shekatuv, as it is said, you can find it in Psalms 111, Reshit Chochma Yirat Hashem. The beginning of wisdom is the awe of God. But it says also in Proverbs 1, Yirat Hashem Reshit Dat. The awe of God is the beginning of Dat. We understand that in Hebrew, the word chokhmah and dat, they're not synonyms. They're different, very distinct, different levels of awareness. So it says that the beginning of wisdom, of chokhmah, is awe. The beginning of dat is awe. Because awe, in Hebrew, yir'ah, is called reshit. By the way, in the word reshit, beginning, there's the word yareh, again. וזהו שער להיכנס אל האמונה. This is the gate for real אמונה, real faith and connection. This is the gate, awe. But what is awe? Which means the awe is the gate of every sephirah, every level of awareness. Without awe, you cannot enter that level. What does it mean, a level to every sephirah? Every sephirah is a level of awareness. You have AW in the beginning of the word awareness, which means what's the difference between one kind of awareness and another? It's a gate. You're entering in a realm, because how, as we read before, how does someone's life manifest? Depends on that person's awareness. Which means if your life is messy, it's because your awareness is messed up. How do you fix your awareness? Study Torah. What's the purpose of the studying of the Torah? Basically balancing the mind and the heart, the imagination, the desires, the intention, okay, the motivation. If you study Torah and you're not altering those states of mind, you're not studying it right. The purpose of the studying of the Torah is to achieve that level that is called awe. What does it mean? כי אי אפשר להשיג אמונה שלמה. You cannot achieve a real faith, complete faith, זולת מתוך יראתו יתברך, only by arriving to the awe of God. וכפי שיעור היראה, כן שיעור השראת אמונה. The dwelling of the אמונה, the connection, is the condition by the level of יראה, awe. But what does it mean? Because the awe is the beginning, it's the gate to every mitzvah, because it is the gate for emunah, faith and connection. נמצא שעל ידי היראה מתקיים כל עולם. So we understand by that awe is basically the source of the existence of the whole world. Because what did we say? When we have awe, we can enter the gate of awareness, perception, and understanding. Which means as long as we do not acquire that level of awe, we cannot enter the gate and we will never be able to see. We will be blind. Well, we will make decisions that are being motivated, controlled by our whims, fears, all kinds of reactions that are not spiritual because we did not condition ourselves, we did not apply ourselves, we did not train ourselves to be in a state of awe. But what is awe? There are three, says the Zohar, verse 190. היראה מפורשת לשלוש בחינות. There are three different aspects for awe. Two of them, שתיים מהן, אין בהן שורש כראוי. Two of them, they are coming from the wrong place. אחת היא שורש היראה, and one of the three is the real one. יש אדם שירא מהקדוש ברוך הוא בשביל שיחיו בניו ולא ימותו. There is a person, he is an awe of God because he's afraid that God will kill his sons. Or another one, he has awe of God because he's afraid from being punished physically. His body, his fortune. And that's why he has the awe of God. We learn from that, נמצא שהיראה שהוא ירא מהקדוש ברוך הוא לא שם אותה לשורש, כי תועלת עצמו היא השורש. So we learn that that fear of God, called awe in that case, is not of God. He's basically worrying about himself, and therefore, if there is a God, I'm supposed to behave nice because otherwise God will punish me by being sick or lose my fortune or my children. So that's not real awe. This is fear of loss, says the Zohar, of your whatever belongs to you. ויש אדם הירא מפני הקדוש ברוך הוא, and there's a person who has the awe of God, משום שירא מעונש העולם ההוא, מעונש של הגיהנום. Another person has the awe of God because he's afraid to be punished in purgatory or even in this world because he didn't misbehave. These two kinds of awe, fear, are basically fear, because one of them is the fear of being suffering in this physical world, and the other one is being afraid of the world to come. You know, a person will die and then go to purgatory. Why? Because they didn't behave. Those two kinds of awe, says the Zohar, they are from the punishment in this physical world, and they are from the punishment in the world to come. They're not the real one. They're not the real root of real awe. היראה שעיקר, the awe that is the main thing, the pillar, the source, is that שהאדם ירא מפני אדונו, the person should have awe of his master, משום שהוא רב ושליט, because he's great, he is the ruler. העיקר והשורש של כל העולמות, he is the essence of and the root of all the different emanations. והכל נחשב כעין לפניו, and everything is like nothing, relatively to him. He doesn't really care for it, he doesn't really need it, it just emanates out from him. This is the real awe, which means basically like what we say in English, awesome. But the question is like this: how can you feel how awesome God is? you have to study. You cannot be, as the sages are saying, en am haaretz en abur yerechet. Somebody who's not knowledgeable cannot reach awe. You have to learn a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge in order to reach to that place of how awesome, how great, how infinite is the power of God, the rules of God, the universe of God. When a person is full of awe, he is ready to reach the ability to see what is right and what is wrong, to see how can I behave in order to funnel God's bliss into a blessing, how not to behave so I'm not funneling God's bliss into a curse. That is a combination of sight, perception, the ability to see, to understand, to, when a person says, now I see. It's all about one thing. If you don't have awe of God, what motivates your decision-making process? I don't know, could be fear. Could be fear of punishment of God, punishment of other people, the authorities. Maybe what will people say if they knew this and that? We have a lot of fear of others outside of us that basically takes over and starts to manipulate and manage our decision making. Only when we reach a total independence, I can be really motivated by one thing, which is the awe of God. Only when I study Torah to the depth, to the Zohar, and I realize how great and infinite is the power of the Creator, how it is outside all the olamot, all the universes, and how it feeds and sustains all the universes at the same time. How infinite is his power. When I reach that place of being in awe of the great power of the Creator, my brain will turn around to be able to see how to follow bliss. Re'eh is also the name of the parasha, is also the only name of a parasha that is also at the same time one of the 72 names of God that can be found in Parashat Beshalach. This name is it's the four names from the end of the 72 names, and it is said in one of the great Kabbalist books. It's called Sefer HaPli'ah. It is said that when using the name Re'eh for meditation, contemplating, and connecting to magic, the magical aspect of this universe, this name of the 72 names, אותו שם מורה שהוא מביט ורואה אותם מצד החסד והטוב. It's that name that allows us that it's all from God and it's all from loving kindness and only good. Which means when we want to bring ourselves to that place that we can see that awesome force of life is flowing from the Creator, and that force is only good and is only full of grace and loving kindness. When we see the Creator as a source of that, and at the same time we are in awe of that awesome power, how do we know that we are in awe? So it says in Midrash Rabbah of Bereshit that when is that a person feels awe? When that person feels that he is in the presence of something complete, of something that is of wholeness, something that is of the nature of shalem, shlemut, completion. When you are standing next to a great human being, he's great in wisdom, in power, in actions, in fame, like everything is great about that person. Now, certain people will feel in awe being next to such a powerful, positive person. It's not fear. You're afraid of something that will hurt you. That's fear. It's another word in Hebrew, pachad. And we're talking about awe. Awe is when you are standing next to something that is awesome, that is so powerful, but it's also complete. But you can bring people to stand next to something so complete like art that is complete and wholesome and powerful. Some people will be impressed. They will be in awe watching it, immersing themselves into the experience. And some people, they're so off, in their frequency. They will not be impressed. They won't even notice. They will stand next to holiness, power, and they will be maybe intimidated, or maybe they will just ignore or just feel disgust. How do you know that life flows in your life is a bliss? When you, through the study of the Torah, reach that place that you can really be in the presence of something holy, something great, something powerful, and you will be in awe. If you're not in awe, whatever greatness that will flow through your life, that will turn into a curse. This is a promise, and this is a curse. So we can see it. It appears many times in this parasha also. We have that word repeating itself in the story of the binding of Isaac. God is telling Abraham, take your son, your only son, the one that you love, to the place that I will show you, Re'eh. And then on the third day, and it's called Mount Moriah. Mount Moriah in Hebrew, is Moriah, showing sight, the presence of God. Okay? On the third day, on the third day, Abram raises his eyes and he sees Vayar, which means also he has awe, the place from afar. After the binding, and then the angel of God tells Abram, do not touch the lad. So Abram again sees now a ram holding to the thicket with his horns, and he brings him as a sacrifice. And then Abram says, and Abram calls the place, Hashem Yireh Asher Yamer Hayom Behar Hashem Yireh. God will see. Whatever will be said in this place will be shown. Using again the words Re'iyah and also Re'iyah. How is this connected to this parasha? Because the parasha is ended, not by mistake, with these words. Chapter 16, verse 16. שלוש פעמים בשנה ייראה כל זכורך. 3 times a year, every male amongst you will be seen. Again, the word is ייראה. Again, the letters Yud, Reish, Aleph, Hey. Et pnei Hashem Elokecha, in front of the face of the Lord your God. in the place that he will choose. Chag HaMatzot, Passover, Chag HaShavuot, וחג הסוכות. ולא ייראה, and he won't be seen, again, the same letters, Yud Reish Aleph Hey, את פני השם ריקם, he won't show empty-handed. He won't be seen empty-handed. What is this place? When Abram goes to the place of the binding, Bamakom, it's again the place. There's a place and there's the place. The place is always Mount Moriah, the place that Abram binds his son. This is the place that later on Jacob has his dream. He sees the angels of God going up and down the ladder, and God is standing on top of the ladder and he's promising him. And Jacob wakes up and he says, "Ma nora hamakom hazeh." How awesome is this place? This place is full of awe. He realized this is the gate of heavens. And that place, later on, King David bought it from Aravna, the king of the Jebusites, and he prepares this place to become the temple, and King Solomon builds the first temple over that location. Which means, says the Midrash of Bereshit Rabbah, wherever you feel real awe, it's a place of wholenessness, of completion. When you feel the completion, you feel the awe. And that's why Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, Yirah, Shalem. It's a combination of two words, awe of what is complete. People make pilgrimage to Jerusalem for thousands of years just to be close to that place. That is the gate of heavens. That when you stand next to that place, if you can experience awe, you have the ability to turn your life into a blessing. But if that place intimidates you, you won't be able to see the blessing in your life. Not everybody can come to Jerusalem to feel awe. So how do you achieve that completion? When you study Torah, and through the study, slowly, you start to feel how awesome is the creation, how wise is the creation, how great is the creation, how powerful and good is the Creator. All of these together is yirah. When a person reaches that place of awe, then everything, all the flow will turn into a blessing in his or her life. But if you can't experience awe and everything is upsetting, intimidating, you're just feeling that your emotions play with you. Once it's fear, once it's envy, once it's hatred, once it's lust, or coveting or so on, you're far away from the blessing. You have, and the study of the Torah is the tool to transform your state of mind into a state of awe. And if you study for a year and 2 years and 3 years, and you're not achieving that awe, you have to change the way you study, the Talmud says. And especially, you have to study Kabbalah. Or meditating, Reish Aleph Hey, so you'll be able to see that everything comes from the Creator. Just love, kindness, goodness. And when you see that, you're transformed. Thank you so much, and good luck to all of us.